Let's look at industry concentration. Economists measure industry concentration by using two measures. These are either the four-farm concentration ratio or the Herfindahl-Hirschman index. The four-farm concentration ratio is the output or the revenue of four largest farms in an industry over total industry output, and this we are multiplying times 100. Now the Herfindahl index, this is also, some books also abbreviate this as Herfindahl-Hirschman index or HHI. This is calculated as the sum of squares of market shares of all the firms. Now here I have the definition of four-farm concentration ratio, which is the percentage of total revenue of the industry accounted by the four largest farms in the industry. For perfectly competitive farm, this is very low, not exactly zero. For monopoly, the four-farm concentration ratio is 100%. We just have a single seller for a monopoly. Now, I am going to use some data here to calculate the four-farm concentration ratio. I have two different kinds of industry. One is tire markers and then we have printers. I'm looking at the total revenue of the four largest farms in the industry. So for tire markers, the total revenue of the four largest farms is equal to 700. For the rest of the farms, it is 175. Total industry revenue is 875. Now the four-farm concentration ratio is 700 over 875 times 100. This is 80%, indicative of an oligopoly market structure, because this four farms has a considerable share of the market. Now, if we look at the second industry, which is printers, the revenue of the four largest farms is just $10 million. And there are many farms in this industry. For the rest of the farms, the total revenue is 1990. If we add all of this together, industry revenue is 2000. The four-farm concentration ratio is 10 over 2000 times 100. This is only 0.5%. I will say each farm has a very small market share, so this is indicative of a perfectly competitive market structure. And this one is indicative of an oligopoly market structure. Alright, so here is some more explanation here of the four-farm concentration ratio. If it is more than 60%, that is definitely oligopoly. Monopolistic, it should be less than 40%. Monopoly, 100%. And like we saw, a low concentration ratio indicates a perfectly competitive market structure. Now, I'm going to go and take a look at the Herfindahl-Hirschman index, also the HHI. This is the square of the percentage market share of all the farms in the industry. So if we have 50 farms here, this will be the square of the market share of all 50 farms in the industry. Now let's look at an example here. Say there are 4 firms in the market and the market shares of these firms are 50%, 25%, 15%, and 10%. The Herfindahl-Hirschman index here will be equal to 50 square plus 15 square plus, I should have just written 25 here, 25 square plus 15 square plus 10 square. So this will be equal to 3,450. For a perfectly competitive market structure, this Herfindahl-Hirschman index is pretty low. For a monopoly market structure, the Herfindahl-Hirschman index is 100 square. This is equal to 10,000. This is the maximum value the Herfindahl-Hirschman index can take. Okay, that's all about industry concentration.